Fury of Lewis's attack.
What's happening, my people? It's Cat Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. Now, as usual, before we get started, let me give a shout out to the JBT community. It's just boxing talk. We're a group of people who just love to talk boxing. And we're always looking for others to join us. And you don't have to have a podcast. The only requirement is you just have to love to talk boxing. That's all. Miss Cass, hashtag JBT. Donnie Williams, Mike Mazik, Ken Saul Love 1, Jarrell Hattie, Al Booger. Salute to everyone and welcome to another episode of Cat Sports, The Box Storia. Today, are Their Legacies Set? And you know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's The Box Storian, bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. Victoria Thomas, salute. How are you, Miss Cass? In there under her government name. But yeah, today, how's everybody? It's Monday afternoon. We're right back at the beginning of another big week of boxing history. Yeah, it's fantasy matchups Monday, but today we're going to be doing a little differently. We're going to be talking about some of these currently active boxers that's right at the end of their careers, or toward the end. And we're going to look at it like the Usyk Canelo, but could they retire right now today? And are their legacies set? Would they be first ballot Hall of Famers right now? We're going to look at that and answer today, okay? And let's get into the highlights of boxing history. We're going to continue with the fight and fighters of the year tomorrow with the 60s. Today, for the little 2 to 2:30 segment of highlights of boxing history, we're going to look at the top 10 yearly performances in boxing history. The top 10 years by boxer performances in boxing history from 10 to 1. Coming in at number 10 was Mike Tyson's 1986. What a year Mike had in 1986, okay? Now, Iron Mike broke onto the international scene as a teenager in the mid-1980s. He was a true throwback fighter. Tyson fought at an extremely busy rate while rapidly climbing to the top of the heavyweight food chain. In 1986, Tyson posted a 13-0 record with 11 knockouts, while also becoming the youngest heavyweight champion in boxing history. And he still wasn't old enough to legally drink and was knocking out solid journeyman fighters like Jesse Ferguson and James Quick Tillis, as well as fellow rising contenders like Mitch Green and Marvis Frazier. Mike capped off the year in November 1986 by stopping Trevor Bervick in 2 rounds to claim his first championship, the WBC version of the heavyweight title. Okay, coming in at number 9 was Jack Dempsey, 1918. What a year. Jack Dempsey's 1918. Let's talk about it. Highlights of boxing history. Jack Dempsey ruled for most of the 1920s as the heavyweight champion and as one of the biggest stars in America in any field of sports, okay? Not just boxing. One of the biggest sports stars, or really anything. Just one of the biggest stars in the United States, period, in the 20s, Jack Dempsey, okay? He captured the heavyweight title in 1919 by handing Jess Willard one of the worst beatings in heavyweight history. But 1918 was the year when Dempsey exploded as a major attraction and turned himself into the obvious #1 contender for the heavyweight crown. The Manasseh Mauler went 19-1, 1 draw with 17 knockouts in 1918. Now, he had his draw with Billy Miss in May 1918, but 6 months later he won by dominant decision, okay? And he also gave Battler Levinsky the first knockout loss of his career in 1918. Battler Levinsky's Hall of Fame career, by the way. Coming in at number 8, Joe Louis's 1935. And he wasn't even champion yet, but Joe Louis's 1935. Now, the longest reigning heavyweight champion in history, Joe Louis, had his most dominant year overall before he actually captured the heavyweight championship, okay? In 1935, Louis emerged as a young phenom at heavyweight. That was the year he served notice that he was the future of the division. For the year 1935, Joe Louis went 11-0 with 9 knockouts, while moving up to the top of the division rankings. In addition to beating a tough collection of journeymen such as King Levinsky, Louis knocked out former world champions Primo Carnera and Max Baer in 1935. Louis would suffer a shocking setback in 1936 against former champion Max Smelling, but he would go on to capture the title in 1937 and then knock out Smelling in the 1938 rematch. Coming in at number 7, Harry Graff's 1922. These are the top 10 years in boxing that any boxer had in history. Harry Greb, 1922, comes in at number 7. Harry Greb fought just 12 times in 1922. And they say just 12, but that's low for Harry Greb. 1917, Harry Greb fought 37 times. 1919, he fought 45 times. So yeah, 1922, you say just, that's a lot. No, not for Harry Greb, just 12 times in 1922. Because he fought almost 100 times in 3 years between 1917 and 1919. So in 1922, Greb fought just 12 times, right? Like I'm saying, for him, was nearly retired compared to his work pace from only a few years before that. Still, Greb remained near the top of his craft and won some major fights against legends in 1922, okay? During 1922, Greb also gave Hall of Famer Tommy Gibbons the first loss of his career, and the legendary Gene Tunney the first and only loss that he ever suffered. Coming in at number 6, Joe Gans, 1902. The old master, Joe Gans, coming in at number 6 for his performance in 1922. Okay? Now, Joe Gans should probably come up more regularly when people on social media start throwing around candidates for top 10 of all time, right? Now, the footage that is available of him, he's a pioneer, shows a fighter who clearly had a scientific understanding of distance, angles, and disruption, when back then there were no such things as that, right? Distance, angles, and all that kind of stuff wasn't heard of. But Joe Gans was clearly doing those things, right? Way back in 1902. Gans fought in an era when fighters had to travel the rails like musicians, fighting from city to city, and sometimes fighting over and over during a month, in 1 month, right? Now, the borderline legality of boxing at the time also created a legacy where victors are not always easy to glean from the historical records. Now, as competing newspapers sometimes recognized competing claims, right? Now, still, the surviving evidence for the greatness of the old master is not debatable. He was viewed as a giant by and among his contemporaries. On the box resume, Gans appears to have been particularly outstanding in 1902, when he went 18-0 and knocked out 14 opponents. He captured the World Lightweight Championship by stopping Frank Ern in 1 round in 1902, May 1902. And among his other wins of the year were 2 over the infamous, dirty George Elbows McFadden and 1 over Keg Metpart. Yeah, the man was so dirty, his nickname was Elbows. Okay, George Elbows McFadden. A notoriously dirty fighter. Okay? Now, coming in at number 5, Henry Armstrong, 1937. Okay, this is one of the best years ever. 1937, Henry Armstrong. Okay, listen to this. In 1937, Henry Armstrong had the first year of what must be regarded as the best 2-year run in the history of the sport. The level of dominance Homicide Hank achieved in 1937 and 1938 has never been equaled since, and never will be. Over the course of 1937 and 1938, Armstrong had a streak of 27 consecutive knockouts, right? 27 knockouts over a 1-year period between 37 and 38, right? 27 up. And he went 41 wins and no losses over that 2-year stretch, right? With 30 knockouts. And not finished. In a time where there were only 8 existing world titles, Armstrong won 3 of them. Arguably won 4, was robbed, called it a very controversial draw in the 4th one. Half of the weight classes, okay? In 1937, Armstrong was 27-0 with 20 knockouts. In October of that year, he won the featherweight title from Peter Cerrone by round 6 KO. And he was 14-0 in 38, but 37 is a year he get recognized for. 27-0, Henry Armstrong. Okay, 20 knockouts. Coming in at number 4, Sugar Ray Robinson, 1942 performance. Ray Patterson in the building. What's up, RP? Crush the Legend in the building. What's up, Crush? 6 o'clock a.m. Monday through Friday. Get your coffee and donuts with Crush the Legend. Salute, Crush the Legend and Ray Patterson. What's up, RP? Everybody have a good weekend. Enjoy those fights. Yeah, I never really have been sold on Diego Pacheco, man. He went there, 37-year-old man that fought like once or twice in like 5 years, and couldn't get him out of there and got rocked, and it was a very competitive fight. Them others 168 pounds like Benavidez, Canelo, Steven Nelson would have been gone, man. So I'm not still ain't sold on Pacheco, and when he go up to top level, man, he gonna be exposed, just like happened to Jaime Munguia. Remember the other month? Diego, same thing gonna end up happening to Diego because B level at the most to me. But let's continue. Highlights of boxing history. We're looking at the top 10 years in boxing history by a fighter. Coming in at number 4, Sugar Ray Robinson's 1942 performance. Let's look at that. And today is going to be, are those guys on the screen, are their legacies set? Could they retire right now and be Hall of Fame worthy? We're going to talk about it today at 2:30, starting at 2:30. But Sugar Ray Robinson's 1942 performance. Now, if you were to pick the most dominant decade for a boxing career, it would have to be Sugar Ray Robinson for the 40s, right? And 1952 was a pretty strong outlier on the finest year anybody ever had. Nobody else in the sport history has a 10-year stretch in which he fought as frequently and as dominantly against the sport's best as Sugar Ray did in that 10-year stretch between 42 and 52. In 1942, though, Robinson, he was still a young fighter who was building his remarkable legacy. So it's not a surprise that activity levels makes that year arguably the top of his run. He was still being denied a shot at the title in 1942, but there was no doubt that he was the top fighter in the world, right? He went 14-0 in 1942 with 9 knockouts. He beat fellow Hall of Famers Marty Servo, Jake LaMotta, Fritzy Zivic, and Sammy Anger. Yeah, the series with Jake began in 42, right? And he beat contenders Maxie Berger and Al Netlow. Sugar Ray Robinson, 1942. Coming in at number 3, top 3 years in boxing history. Number 3, the great Benny Leonard, 1917. Benny Leonard. Benny Leonard went 20 years without losing a fight, okay? But 1917, known as the Ghetto Wizard, one of the great nicknames of boxing, the Ghetto Wizard. Benny Leonard was a brilliant technical fighter who reigned as lightweight champion from 1917 until his first retirement in 1924 at age 28. In 1917, he was at his busiest while beating some high-level opponents. For the year 1917, Benny Leonard was 28 wins, no losses. That's 1 year. Okay, that's an entire career nowadays. But Benny Leonard, 1917, 28 wins, no losses. In May of 1917, he captured the lightweight title by round 9 TKO over Freddie Welsh, knocking the well-traveled champion down 3 times. Also in 1917, Leonard beat Jack Britton and Johnny Kilbane, the 2 great champions of that era in the lightweight division, right? And no, they were right above lightweight. They were at welterweight and featherweight. And he went up and down and beat both of them, okay? Coming in at number 2, we just talked about this one. Harry Graves, 1919. Now, y'all got to listen to this. Harry Greb, 1919 at number 2. What's number 1 to beat that? Wow, I can't wait to get to number 1. But listen to Harry Greb's 1919, okay? Harry Greb's 1919 campaign defies belief, okay? Harry Greb's 1919 campaign defies belief, man. According to the Box Rec records, the Pittsburgh Windmill went 45-0 for 1919. 45-0, okay? Plenty of the names on Greb's resume that year were forgettable club fighters, but they were all professionals who were trying to take his head off and earn a sudden reputation. They were all grown men in there throwing hands, so come on now, 45 of them. Simply sparring hard that often over a year with trusted training partners would be a brutal pace to sustain. Yeah, 45 sparring matches, right? He had 45 fights. And Greb was fighting big names also when he could get them. He beat reigning light heavyweight champion Battling Levinsky 3 times in 1919. He beat contenders Mike Gibbons, Willie Meehan, and Billy Mist. And these are big names. These are way far from club fighters. He beats respectable journeymen, Leo Hawk, twice. In today's era, compiling 3 wins over a world champion, 3 more over tough contenders, and another 2 over a good journeyman in a single year would be viewed as unprecedented. And that's something like, what, 8 wins? That would be unprecedented nowadays. This man had 45 wins that year. Not just 45 fights, won all of them, okay? In 1919, Greb did that, what I just talked about, what those 8 fights that would be unprecedented nowadays. Plus, he won another 37, okay? Okay, yeah, number 1 is Henry Armstrong, 1938. Number 1 year in boxing history by a fighter, Homicide Hank, Henry Armstrong, 1938. Yeah, he went 27-0 in 37, but let's see what he did in 38 to top that, okay? Henry Armstrong entered 1938 as the reigning world champion at featherweight. I thought he had at featherweight. Started out at featherweight 38. Before 38 ended, he collected welterweight and lightweight titles, right? And at a time when there were only 1 champion per weight class and only 8 weight classes overall, Homicide Hank had 3 belts at the same time. Now, as many as 20 or more champions might reign over that same span of rounds in today's division. 20, how about 60? Over 3 weight classes? You might have 60 champions, 20 in one of them, man. Come on. But yeah, it says over 20 or more champions might reign over that same span of rounds in today's version of the sport. For 1938, Armstrong maintained a pace of fighting more than once per month, going 14-0 with 10 stoppages. He also recorded wins over fellow Hall of Famers, Baby Arizmendi, Chalky Wright, Seferino Garcia, Lou Ambers, and the great Barney Ross. Okay, yeah, top 10 years in boxing history. Highlights of boxing history today. Tomorrow we'll get back to fighting fighters of the year. I didn't have time to prepare it today, okay? So but today is, are these fighters' legacies set though? Canelo, Usyk, Bud, could they retire right now and be first ballot Hall of Famers, or do they need to do a little bit more? We're going to talk about it today, okay? We are going to talk about it and see. But how's everybody today? How was the weekend? Had some good fights. See the guy calling Shakur the P word, calling him out, but the guy just didn't realize one thing. Shakur is a weight class below him. Call a person out in your weight class, man. That made him look kind of weak. You calling out a guy weight class below you, bro. Call on somebody in your weight class. It's nice calling people out and stuff, but make sure they're in your weight class before you do it, It makes you look a little bit better, right? I forgot his name, but he knocked out the old guy that hadn't won in like 3 years. And the guy only threw 7 punches in the fight. If he didn't knock him out, he shouldn't even be a boxer. So that ain't nothing to write home to mom about. What was the guy's name he knocked out? Pedraza? Yeah. Pedraza ain't won a fight since like 2020 or something, right? He gets knocked out by everybody now. Pedraza is just in there for a check now. So knocking him out don't give you no reason to go calling out Shakur. Okay, even if he is a weight class below you. So come on, man. These fighters got to wake up, man. Got to wake up, because some of them are taking a bad picture out here, looking bad out here, man. You know? And like I said, Pedraza only threw 7 punches. What, he went 3 rounds? 7 punches the entire 3 rounds. He was waiting to get knocked out, man. And go in the back and get his bag and going on about his business. Come on. I probably could get in there and knock him out. I'm 65 years old, man. Come on, man. So, yeah. But today is... Oh, your question says, Tito been talking about Kerr. Nothing new. Yeah, that's crazy, ain't it, Chris? But he's a weight class above him. Medal the Queen 27 in the building. Y'all say call out Matthias or Gary Russell or Regis or Jack Taylor or Cadwell. Those are guys at 140 where he fights at. It would look a little bit better, you know, because those are the guys. Maybe he fights Shakur later, but right now, you got to call out the guys that you actually got the chance to fight. You know, that's all I'm saying, man. It makes you look a little bit more better. That look kind of phony. You don't really want to fight. Call out somebody in the weight class below you. And the man you beat haven't won since like 2020. And then, like I said, the man threw 7 punches during the fight. He was waiting to get knocked out. What are we talking about here, man? That is nothing to be bragging about, pumping your chest about. Okay? Yeah, he started at 135 question, moved up. Yeah, right. And then he was just like a prospect then. Shakur wasn't fighting them. Yeah, Shakur fighting everybody. It was Shakur fighting prospects. You know? So come on. What are we talking about here? These fighters just got to be better, man. But yeah, we're going to be talking about, but salute, Crush. How are you today? We're going to be talking about all Their Legacies Set. Okay, but first, let's do this before we get started. Okay? Let's do this.
Another meet and greet, this time in Brooklyn, New York, during the Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach Fight Week, Friday, February 28th from 8 p.m. until midnight. If you're planning on being in town for the fight, pull up on us at the meet and greet. Tickets can be purchased via Cash App at JBT Network 1. That's JBT Network 1. There is an early bird special for $20 from now until February the 1st. Then it's $30. That covers entry and food. There will also be a cash bar, so make sure you get your tickets early. Only a limited number of tickets will be sold, so make sure that you are in that number. Several door prizes will be given away. For more information, call 410-322-4365. That's 410-322-4365. And have a great JBT day. Brought to you by the JB.
Yeah. So the early bird special is still going on. This is the last week, though. February 1st, the tickets go to $30. So right now, they're $20. Why pay $30 when you can pay $20? So get them this week. You know, get those tickets this week while they're $20. And that $20 still automatically puts you in the running for that ticket to the fight, okay? Just like the $30, you buy a $20 ticket this week, you're in the running to win that ticket for the fight. Yeah. You buy a ticket to the event, it automatically puts you in the running to win a ticket to the fight, man. Yeah. Door prizes. I don't know, I might be wrong. I think some Kaniki Bear headphones are going to be given away at the event, okay? I wouldn't mind getting them. But yeah, February 28th, the day before Gervonta Tank Davis and Lamont Roach, the JBT's meet and greet, okay? You're in the New York area, pull up, join us, meet some of the content creators. Miss Cass going to be there. Meet the power behind Cass Sports, Miss Cass. J Hardcore, Ed McQueen, Squeeze and Senior from the Rise Podcast, D1. All the content creators. Thomas Hill talking about flying in from California. Wow. So if Tom Hill can come all the way from California, us on the East Coast can definitely be there. What's up, Real Prison Talk with Tommy? How are you today? Big Supreme in the building. Salute. Yeah, are their legacies set though? Yeah, we're going to talk about it today. See what we think. Salute. Real Prison Talk with Tommy and Big Supreme. Yeah. Nello and Usyk's legacy is set. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, for sure. Definitely Usyk. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. Let's get ready to get started. Okay. How was everybody's weekend? Had some good fights. That Diego Pacheco and Nelson. Like I said, I'm not really sold on Pacheco. I need to see more, man. I thought he should have got Nelson up out of there, man. And like Nelson said, that cut really affected him. If he hadn't got cut early, it might have been different. He might have come out of there with the W. So yeah, getting cut early like that really threw his game plan off, I thought. But hey, it's part of it. So you got to be able to deal with that because it happens. Yeah. He's 22. 22. Big Supreme. Okay. Yeah. I know he's young. He's young, got room to grow. Yeah. So you will see on it. You got room to grow. That is definitely true. Okay, so now, what determines a boxer's legacy? What determines a boxer's legacy, first of all? Okay. I was reading the chat. And he beat Sulecki, Gallegos, and Coerces and Cosiris. Yeah, already. Yeah, those are good names for a young 22-year-old guy. That is right. Good points. Now, what determines a boxer's legacy? Now, there are many factors that include, but certainly are not limited to the following. First thing, their natural abilities, okay? Their natural abilities, right? Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, and some others simply appeared to be boring. To be born to box, they appeared to be born to box, right? Throwing jabs while executing flawless footwork seemed natural to them. But they were born with some of those moves, right? But they did perfect them and honed them over decades of repetitive practice and hours upon hours that turned into days, turned into years, in sweaty basement gyms. Now, when we saw them in the ring with opponents, they always seemed to be in top form. And it was an art form, right? And, it became a martial art. It was a martial art. Now, another thing that determines a boxer's legacy, of course, is their opponents, right? Their opponents. Now, having a stacked resume of other legends makes one a legend himself. Now, Ali's resume was the most impressive, Sonny Liston, Floyd Patterson, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, Larry Holmes, Big George Foreman, Ernie Shavers, Jimmy Young, Jimmy Ellis, Ron Ellis, could keep going. And then, Holyfield had a good one too. Mike Tyson, Larry Holmes, Big George, Lennox Lewis, Riddick Bowe, Floyd, Manny Pacquiao, Oscar, Canelo, Arturo Gatti. Oscar had a good one. Manny, B-Hop, Arturo Gatti, Tito Trinidad, Sugar Shane. And even fighters that were not exactly considered legends could be if they had stellar resumes, right? Like Ray Mercer. Ray Mercer was considered to be okay by some, but his list of opponents included Evander Holyfield, Larry Holmes, Lennox Lewis, and Tommy Morrison, who Mercer brutally knocked out. Now, conversely, the Klitschko brothers were great fighters. They had the perfect physique, tall and muscular, without being too muscular. And they had great reach, they could move well. And being Ukrainian, they were simply warriors. Yet, their list of opponents were kind of weak. And they had a lot to do with the era they fought in, too. They fought in, I would say, one of the weakest eras in heavyweight history around the time they were out there, the Klitschkos. Okay? Appreciate everybody stopping by. Today, we're going to be talking about, are these fighters' legacies set? Like's looking good, too. Now, another thing that determines a fighter's, helps determine legacy is warrior ethos. Warrior ethos. Here, a fighter that was willing to face anyone, anywhere, and multiple times, right? Warrior ethos. Now, this is where Floyd kind of lags, right? Because Floyd has superb skills and technique, and his list of opponents was impressive, but avoiding certain opponents that were top-notch contenders or facing them at the opportune time under his stringent terms and only in his backyard, and sometimes resulting in questionable decisions and refusal to do rematches, causes some to have a few issues with Floyd's legacy. But I still say Floyd had a great Hall of Fame worthy career, yeah. But yeah, some of those things, some people hold that against him, yeah. Okay, Floyd, right? Now, yeah, I think he still had a great Hall of Fame worthy career. But Ricardo Lopez in the building. What's up, Ricardo Lopez? You threw me for, I immediately thought of the fighter Ricardo Lopez. What's up, Ricardo Lopez? How you doing today? Good to see you. He was here last week, too. Salute, Ricardo. Welcome back. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Okay, yeah, Melanie Queen is, she's going to be telling y'all about that meet and greet, too, February 28th. Remember now, the tickets are $30 as a regular price, but up to February 1st, they're $20, the early bird special. So you still got the rest of this week to get that $10 off. So now's the time to get them this week. You got to tell us what's the first, Saturday? Yeah. So this is the time to get them, okay? This week. I already put $30. I wish I could take 10 back. No, just kidding. But yeah, this is the time to get them this week because they're $10 until Saturday. And that $20 still puts you in the running to win that ticket the next day. I mean, the ticket to the fight the next day after the meet and greet, yeah. Once you get a ticket to the event, you're automatically in the running to win a ticket to the fight. Devontae Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach. Okay. Yes, we're still talking about warrior ethos, one of the things that factor into a fighter's legacy, okay? And I got to find out where I was at now. Yeah, here we go. I was talking about Floyd. What in the world is that? I was talking about Floyd. Sounded like some kind of alarm went off. Are we still here? Yeah. Yeah, we're still here. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I haven't figured out where I was at. Here we go, yeah. Now, Holyfield and Ali fought anyone, anywhere, and multiple times. They fit warrior ethos, fits them like a glove. Sugar Ray Leonard fought many of the top fighters in his era. But Sugar Ray gets some criticism for waiting so long to face Marvin Hagler, right? And not granting Hagler the rematch, remember? Yeah, he catches some flack for that, Sugar Ray does. Yeah. Just Do Boxing in the building. What's up, Just Do? How you doing today, bro? 4 p.m. Shorty. That's who I'm warming you up for. Just Do Boxing coming up at 4 p.m. today. Salute, Just Do. we trying to answer this question. Are these fighters legacy set? Usyk, Canelo, Bud. We're gonna get into it. We're just trying to like define a legacy right now. But yeah, Sugar Ray catches a little criticism for waiting so long to fight Hagler and not giving him the rematch after the fight, right? But Leonard's legacy is still very much intact. Holyfield's willingness to face anyone, anywhere was almost suicidal. Yeah, that warrior ethos fits, like I said, fits Holyfield like a glove. Almost suicidal, man. Holyfield, who was naturally a cruiserweight, could say light heavyweight. He went up against big guys like Riddick Bowe 3 times, okay? He went up against Lennox Lewis 2 times. And Iron Mike Tyson also 2 times, okay? Yeah, Holyfield. He would fight anybody, anytime, anywhere. Now, being considered a legend takes great ability that remains etched in our minds long after a fighter leaves the ring, right? Combine that with fighting in an ideal era with other great fighters and being willing to face these opponents under any conditions. Of course, to a certain extent. Now, you ain't gonna go in there and just put yourself at a complete advantage, but being willing to face anybody, anywhere, anytime, okay? Now let's start talking about some of these 3 guys. Usyk, Canelo, Bud. Are their legacies set? Now, this light is glaring. I need it though. Okay. All right, let me do this real quick, and we're gonna get started. Oleg said, yeah, Big Supreme was right. Usyk's legacy is set, man. He can retire right now. As this show going on, Usyk announced his retirement. He's the first ballot Hall of Famer with a 5-year legacy. He could come on right now and call a press conference for 5 minutes from now and say, I'm retired. First ballot Hall of Famer. His legacy is set. Alexander Usyk, yeah. He's done some big things. Only one of 5 to 4-belt undisputed twice in 2 divisions. Usyk's only one of 5 people to do it, right? And yeah, beat Tyson Fury twice. Tyson Fury's only losses, but let's talk about it. I got some notes here. Let's go by them. Follow the script. Okay. Now, seemingly everything in boxing is up for debate. Now, the fighting extends beyond the ropes and from between the bells. But one thing is inarguable. Alexander Usyk, as of last May, was the undisputed heavyweight champion. Okay? Now, Usyk, while no longer undisputed, right, he vacated the IBF version of the title. He remains the king of the heavyweight division right now today. Yeah, Usyk remains the king at heavyweight. And Usyk is clearly the best heavyweight of the past decade or so. That's when you discuss his historic standing before 2015 and back, particularly around 2004, that the usual water cooler conversations begin to boil over. Now, debate is a fundamental element of being a sports fan, right? Debate is part of it, especially if you're debating with other sports fans that know what they're talking about, right? Now, it's natural to see someone do something great and then wonder where they fit among other greats. That's natural, right? And the thing that has ruffled some feathers is how some detract from and diminish what Usyk has accomplished in his 23 wins over the course of 11 years as a professional prize fighter. Yeah, that's what, ruffles a little feathers, how people try to diminish what this man has accomplished. Usyk has beaten 2 of the 3 other top heavyweights of this era, right? He's shown that he belongs among the biggest of fighters and the heaviest of punchers, despite having neither of those advantages himself. Now, Usyk's march through the heavyweight division has been unusual. Usyk wins with brains more than brawn. His agility, stamina, self-belief, and powers of recuperation are unmatched among his contemporaries. 5 years ago, Usyk, having concluded his excellent cruiserweight run, arrived in the heavyweight division in 2019, right? With a stoppage win over Chaz Witherspoon. Truly, Usyk's most notable performances have been in the span of just 3 years, right? Beginning with the first of the AJ fights. Remember those? First victory over AJ, Anthony Joshua. Now, there were doubts during and after Usyk's second heavyweight fight, about a year after the Witherspoon win, when he had to weather quite a storm before adjusting en route to a unanimous decision win over Derek Chisora in October 2020. Yeah, remember that? That's when people were starting to say, oh, he don't belong at heavyweight. He should have stayed at cruiserweight. He's too small, blah, blah, blah. Remember that? Yeah. After the Chisora fight, because, struggled a little and, but he rallied and won it. Now, it hasn't been easy, but Usyk has earned the victories, right? And he deserves the acclaim that he gets. He's the consummate warrior who had triumphed again and again in hostile territories at cruiserweight. He won a unanimous decision over Anthony Joshua in front of an announced crowd of 66,000 people in a soccer stadium in London, where Joshua's from, okay? Then, Usyk earned the IBF, WBA, and WBO heavyweight titles in September 2021, right? That was when he beat Joshua. Now, Usyk hasn't been his opponent's home territory since. Instead, the rematch with Joshua took place in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. And Usyk retained his title by split decision in August 22 in the rematch. Remember, AJ had the meltdown after the fight. Remember that? Now, given the ongoing war in his home country of Ukraine, right? Usyk, he got as close as reasonably possible for his win against Daniel Dubois, and he fought him in Poland, August 2023. Remember, that's kind of fluffy, but yeah, that's the supposedly low blow. Oh, wait a minute, I got that in the way. Yeah, you can't even see it. I gotta remove that. Should I? Where's it at? Excuse me for a minute. Yeah, see it? It's kind of fuzzy, but yeah, that is not low, man. That is not low, but that was the supposedly low blow that he threw. That Lucy got all that time for. But hey, that's in the past now. Let's move on. But this fight was in Poland, August 2023. Now, seemingly everything in boxing. I get back here. I done went backwards. Yeah, seemingly everything in boxing is up for debate. And the fight with Dubois is a prime example. To this day, there are still those who say the punch that sent Usyk to the canvas in the fifth round was a low blow, right? While there are others who argue with just as much confidence that the replays and still frames show a legal shot, which that one did shows clearly a legal shot, right? Clearly a legal shot. If his family jewels is up that high, the brother is deformed, man. So, now the referee ruled it low, okay? The referee ruled it low. Now, Usyk's detractors say Dubois was robbed, that Usyk's resulting victory deserves an asterisk by it, okay? Now, it's entirely plausible that Usyk could have responded differently and beaten the count had the referee called it a legal punch. And it's also possible that Usyk might not have beaten the count. We'll never know what would have happened in either scenario. What we do know is the fight ended with Usyk winning by 9th round knockout. That's what we do know. So might as well move on from it. And so after that fight, that brought him into 2024 and his fights with the WBC title holder, Tyson Fury. Okay. It brought him into 24 with the Tyson Fury situation. Okay? Tyson and Usyk. I'm trying to keep track of the track at the chat as I go through. Okay, yeah. So now, the first fight between Fury and Usyk was in Saudi Arabia. That was one of the Riyadh seasons, remember? May 2020, May last year, right? And that was for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. The winner would become the first four-belt, remember? First four-belt heavyweight champion. The winner of that fight. Now, the fight seemed to be in Fury's control at the halfway point, only for Usyk to respond and take over. He hurt Fury badly in the 9th round and scored a technical knockdown when the ropes held Fury up, remember? And a lot of people thought it should have been stopped. But, I guess the referee looked at the time. It was close to the end of the round. It had been like a little 30, 40 seconds more in the round, Usyk probably would have got him up out of there. Mm-hmm. And the judges split their decision, though. 2 of the 3 scored the action in Usyk's favor. And in their rematch, back in Riyadh again, what was that? December? Yeah, last month, wasn't it? Yeah, last month. Or was it November? November or December. But in the rematch, Fury was once again ahead early in the fight. He was up 49-46 after 5 rounds on one scorecard and 48-47 on the other 2. Fury was up, right? And once again, the second half of the fight belonged to Usyk. And one judge had Usyk winning the fight. One judge gave Usyk round 6-11 and gave round 12 to Fury. Another judge had Usyk winning round 6-8 and losing the 9th round. And then he gave the 10 through 12 to Usyk, gave all the championship rounds to Usyk. And the third judge had Usyk winning rounds 6 through 12, the entire second half of the fight. Wow. And the final scores to the rematch between Fury and Usyk was 116 and 112 across the board. All 3 judges gave it to Usyk. Yeah. All 3 of them. Gave to Alexander. Mm-hmm. And those were both legacy fights, man, First one was 2 undefeated heavyweights going for the undisputed, the king of the division. In the rematch, you have a good fight like that first one was with the significance of it. The rematch is always legacy after that, Yeah. So both 2 big legacy fights, which Usyk won. Now, the Fury era began in November 2015. So Usyk's legacy is set, though. To answer that question about Usyk, his legacy, he could have that press conference at 3 o'clock today in 5 minutes and announce his retirement. He's the first ballot Hall of Famer with a fire legacy in the sport. Yeah, that will be remember. Your legacy is how people remember you when you leave the sport. Okay, Usyk will be well remembered after he leaves. So the Fury era began in November 2015 with a clear, if dreary, decision over Vladimir Klitschko in Dusseldorf, Germany. But his career paused for nearly 3 years after that. Fury subsequently spent 3 years away from the sport dealing with mental health issues and addiction, right? Ballooning up in weight and ramifications of a failed drug test for his fight prior to facing Klitschko, right? And Fury blamed the positive drug test on nandrolone, which is a performance-enhancing drug. That's what they found in the system. Now get this. Fury used Canelo's excuse. Fury said he ate some meat from an uncastrated boar. So listen, y'all. Don't eat no meat for no uncastrated boar, okay? That's what Fury said, put nandrolone in the system and caused him to fail the drug test. Fury didn't eat the nandrolone, the boar ate it. Okay? They excused Canelo. Canelo said the cows ate the PEDs. He didn't eat them. But in Fury's absence, 2 other names rose to the forefront. Deontay Wilder, who had won the WBC title in January 2015, 10 months before Klitschko vs. Fury took place. And Anthony Joshua, who picked up the IBF belt in April 2016, about 4.5 months after Klitschko Fury. So in Fury's absence, Wilder and Joshua rose to the top of the division. Now Fury returned in June 2018. 2 fights and 6 months later, he barely averted disaster and defeat. He was knocked down stunningly hard and seemingly out in the 12th round, right? Only to come off the canvas with a split second remaining in the referee's count, and then battle back bravely for the remainder of the fight. And the fight ended in a draw. You know who that was against? That was against the Bronze Bomber. Remember that one? Yeah, Fury was asleep and woke up, man. Yeah. Woke up from that Deontay Wilder right hand. And ended up being a draw. I'm one of the people in the camp that I thought Wilder won it, but hey, the judges didn't think so. That's who counts. Now, Fury and Wilder wouldn't meet again until February 2020. And that is when the Fury era truly resumed, you know, when he had that second fight with Wilder, with Fury scoring a 7th round TKO. Now, in the meantime, while all this was going on, Anthony Joshua went from a confident fighter, outpointing Joseph Parker and stopping Alexander Povetkin, to suffering a surprise upset to Andy Ruiz, you know, getting taken out in the 7th round by Ruiz. Now, Joshua won the rematch, right, regaining his IBF, WBA, and WBO world titles. And Fury and Joshua planned for a mega fight in 2021 over in the UK. But Wilder stood in the way. Wilder went to arbitration to enforce his contractual third fight, his right to face Fury one more time, remember? And Wilder won. So that led to the phenomenal third Fury-Wilder fight. And this fight had 5 knockdowns in it, right? And Fury got the win eventually by 11 round knockout. But that was an incredible fight, that Fury-Wilder 3, man. Yeah. That was incredible. Yeah, Fury-Wilder 3. Look, right now, let's take a break. Let's take a commercial break, okay? Let's take a commercial break.
Is doing it again. Another meet and greet, this time in Brooklyn, New York, during the Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach fight week. Friday, February 28th from 8 p.m. until midnight. If you're planning on being in town for the fight, pull up on us at the meet and greet. Tickets can be purchased via Cash App at JBT Network 1. That's JBT Network 1. There is an early bird special for $20 from now until February the 1st. Then it's $30. That covers entry and food. There will also be a cash bar, so make sure you get your tickets early. Only a limited number of tickets will be sold, so make sure that you are in that number. Several door prizes will be given away. For more information, call 410-322-4365. That's 410-322-4365. And have a great JBT day. Brought to you by the JBT, Curtis Sewell, Treasurer.
That's me. Yeah, appreciate you, Melanie Queen. Entered to win on February 21st. 1 ticket to the Davis versus Roach fight, March 1st. Single entry, $10, or 3 entry for $25, right? Or that entry to the meet and greet gets you 1 chance too, okay? Hit that link, that will take you to the Cash App, right? Hit that link Melanie Queen has in there, will take you directly to the Cash App, and you're in it. You're in like Flint, okay? Okay, let's continue. Oh, excuse me. I don't remember if yeah, okay. Here we go. This is where I was at. I forgot where it was, but this is it. Now, yeah. We just talked about the Fury and Wilder 3, okay? So after that, we came to Joshua and Usyk, remember? Because Joshua was trying to fight Fury But then Wilder stepped in and went to the arbitrator because he felt he deserved to get that third fight with Fury, and Wilder won the arbitration. So Fury fought Wilder. So that led to Joshua taking on Usyk, remember? And he lost to Usyk. And all this is context for the following. If three of the top heavyweights of the era were Fury, Joshua, and Wilder, Usyk has beaten Joshua twice and also beaten Fury twice, who beat Wilder twice. Usyk is the fourth of these top heavyweights of the era, and he's at the top. Okay, Usyk is undoubtedly, no doubt, at the top of the heavyweight division right there. Now, some naysayers have criticized the quality of the current heavyweight era. It is tempting to judge a fighter solely on their record and the records of those on his record. Anyway, judging just by record can be misleading. The reality isn't that simple. Now, when it comes to how good a boxer is or isn't, there is how good he is on paper, how good he is in perception, and how good he proves to be in reality, okay? Now, sometimes these three things align. Sometimes we get three different results. Now, what we did see was that Fury, Joshua, and Wilder had on and off distinguished and separated themselves, right? On and off distinguished and separated themselves from the pack. Now, each of them has their flaws. You know, who doesn't, right? Each of them had their flaws. Who doesn't have their flaws? Warlock Boxing in the building. What's up, Warlock Boxing? How are you today? We're just looking at a few currently active fighters and just asking the question, are their legacies set? Yeah, that's all. But salute Warlock Boxing. Good to see you today. Yeah, now, you know, Wilder, Fury, Joshua, they all had their flaws, but who doesn't have their flaws, right? But the best version of Wilder was only ever beaten by Fury. Now, Fury has tended to either fight up or down depending on how seriously he took his opponent, right? But when Fury was at his best, he was the best until he fought Usyk, right? Until he fought Usyk. Now, Joshua was and is hot and cold. But Usyk still deserves credit for beating the rebuilt version of him, right? No one in this era has done what Usyk has done. No heavyweight in this era has done what Usyk has done. What else do we want for him to have done during his time at heavyweight, right? What else? What else could he have done aside from knocking out Fury and Joshua or facing Wilder at some point? Now, we can argue Usyk's place in history and whether he merits inclusion as one of the greatest heavyweights ever. But no matter what, Usyk stands out not only for what he accomplished at heavyweight, but also for how few other cruiserweights succeeded after moving up to heavyweight. We can't forget that, right? Not too many heavyweights have done that. Usyk is only the 8th former cruiserweight title holder to challenge for a heavyweight title, right? A list that also includes Evander Holyfield, Juan Carlos Gomez, James Toney, John Mark Mormek, David Haye, Marco Huck, and Tomas Adamek. Yeah, very short list. Not a long list at all. Now, Usyk is only the 3rd cruiserweight to win a heavyweight title. Okay, only the 3rd one. The other 2 was Evander Holyfield and David Haye. Now, James Toney moved up from cruiserweight and won the heavyweight title from John Ruiz, but the win was negated by a positive test for PED. So Toney doesn't count. That's it. Alexander Usyk, Evander Holyfield, and David Haye. That's it. That is it. Okay. Now, Usyk is only the 2nd cruiserweight to be the true champion of the heavyweight division. Holyfield is the only other one. Holyfield accomplished it twice. So Usyk's legacy is already secure. But that doesn't mean he can't add to it, right? He doesn't have to take a rematch with Daniel Dubois to do it either. But a second fight against Dubois will close the book on that controversy from the first fight. And Usyk should get some credit for facing this current improved version of Dubois too. He should get some credit for that, yeah. Yes, he should. Because Dubois now holds the IBF version of the heavyweight title. Now, Usyk just turned 38 earlier this month, right? Earlier in January, I think it was like the 17th, something like that. A couple weeks ago, he just turned 38. Now, Usyk may not stick around for too much longer, but in his 23 professional fights, 12 have been for world titles, right? And those who attempt to overlook Usyk's stint at cruiserweight, they might not be familiar with the division in general, and they couldn't have followed it during Usyk's reign, because when Usyk was reigning at cruiserweight, it was a deep pool of talent from all over the globe, right? And Alexander Usyk is the best heavyweight of this era, hands down. Excuse me, not even arguable. He's one of the best cruiserweights of all time, ever. And he's one of the best fighters, pound for pound, in this generation. That much will always be true, can't be taken away from him. And that doesn't matter where Usyk ranks among the best heavyweights of all time. I haven't really thought about that, but yeah. The best heavyweight of this era, one of the best cruiserweights of all time, one of the best pound for pound fighters of this era, top 5, top 3 for sure. Alexander Usyk, yes. To answer the question, the 3 we had on the screen, Usyk, Canelo, Bud, yes. Usyk's legacy is set, okay? Now, Terence Crawford's window is closing. Will he retire without the Canelo showdown? It looks like he's going to get it. Is it official yet? I was checking yesterday. They still talking about if, but yeah. Will he retire without the Canelo fight, Bud Crawford? Let's talk about Bud for a minute, okay? Now, Terence Crawford has been one of the most dominant boxers of the past decade. He's one of only 5 fighters to be undisputed champion in 2 weight classes in the 4-belt era. However, with retirement looming, there's one fight that continues to elude him: Mexican superstar Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, Crawford made his professional debut in March 2008 with a knockout win over Brian Cummings. Since then, he has built an extraordinary career, becoming the first fighter to win all 4 major belts in both the super lightweight and welterweight divisions. Now, after 16 years in the sport, with a 41-0 record and 31 knockouts, many believe Bud is nearing the end of his journey, right? I'm in that club too. He's definitely near the end. What is Bud, 38? Yeah. Yeah, Bud has a 75% knockout rate. That ain't bad. Approaching 80. Yeah, many believe Bud is near the end of that journey through the sport, though. Inside the ring part of it anyway, you know. Now, while Crawford hasn't officially mentioned retirement, he has been quiet about his future plans in the ring. Although, for some time now, Crawford has expressed an interest in one last major fight, a bout that would cement his legacy, even if he loses, right? You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. It would cement his legacy even if he loses this fight. But if he were to win this fight against Canelo, he would go down in history as the man who ended the reign of Canelo Alvarez. Now, Crawford turned 37 in September. Okay, 37. He turned 37 in September. Okay? So he'll be 38 late this year. And some people believe retirement is in his imminent future. To face Canelo, Crawford would have to move up to 168 pounds, the super middleweight division, where Canelo currently reigns as unified champion, right? Now, Canelo and Crawford have been on a collision course in recent weeks. Bud has been pushing for this fight for months, and he has stated his willingness to move all the way up to 168 to face Canelo. Now, it would take place at 168 pounds, with Canelo holding the size advantage, as Crawford would be fighting in his 5th weight class, right? Bud moved up to 154 last year and became a 4-weight world champion by edging Israel Madrimov. That was last August. Now, this clash with Canelo would be one of the last of Crawford's career. Maybe his final appearance in the ring, okay? Definitely going to be one of them. Maybe probably the last one, okay, for old Bud. Now, the event promises to be a lucrative one for both fighters. And both will have mega paydays, right? Now, as a 2-division 4-belt undisputed champion, Crawford's legacy is set already, I think. And his career has already been Hall of Fame worthy. You know, just doing that in 2 weight classes, that's it right there. But if he jumps to 168 and comes out with a win over Canelo, that enhances Bud's legacy 1,000%. So to answer the question for Bud, is his legacy set? Yes. He's already had a Hall of Fame worthy career. He'll be remembered after he leaves the sport for being one of the first ones to get 4-belt undisputed in 2 different weight classes. So yeah, his legacy is set somewhat. But if he could go up there and beat Canelo, his legacy is set. Yeah, Bud Crawford, okay? Now, yes, there are still legacy fights for Canelo Alvarez if he is interested, okay? There are still legacy fights for Canelo if he is interested in them, okay? It all depends on Canelo. They still out there. Let's talk about it. Thomas Hill, hashtag JBT. Kensaw Love One, another super chat. Appreciate you, Kensaw Love One. Always looking out. Appreciate Kensaw Love One for the super chat, everybody. Thank you, Kensaw Love One. Appreciate you. Thomas Hill in the building. What's up, T Hill? How you doing today? What you think, T Hill? Are their legacies set? Usyk, Canelo, Bud? Or do they need to do more? Thomas Hill and Mike Grimm. Are Canelo, Bud, Usyk's legacy set? Or do they need to do more? What y'all think about it? And in the meantime, we're going to start talking about Canelo. But salute Thomas Hill, hashtag JBT, and Mike Grimm in the building. What's up, gentlemen? How are y'all today? Okay, let's continue. Appreciate everybody for stopping by today. Hope you're enjoying the show. Appreciate you 1,000%, Kensaw Love One. Okay, yeah. Yes, there are still legacy fights out there for Canelo if he's interested. At age 34, Oscar De La Hoya made his biggest payday ever as he lost a competitive fight to Floyd Mayweather, only to find himself a shot fighter at 35. A month before his 34th birthday, Julio Cesar Chavez got sliced up by Oscar. A fight that signaled the end of Chavez's time at the top and left him hanging on the next few years in a state where he could beat most journeymen, but he would lose to any truly world-class fighter, okay? Now, every boxer ages differently, right? Every boxer ages differently, of course. Canelo Alvarez, who turned 34 last summer 2024, he turned 34, right? He's reaching the age that proved a turning point for the biggest Mexican superstars and the biggest Mexican superstar Chavez and the biggest Mexican American superstar Oscar of their eras, right? 34 was the point where they started going downhill after that, right? And those are the two eras that preceded Canelo's era. Now, it's hard to say with confidence how close to the end of his prime or the end of his career that Canelo is. But between the age of 34 thing, the fact that he turned pro at age 15, and he has fought over 500 rounds across 66 professional fights. And the reality, Canelo hadn't scored a knockdown win in almost 3 years. You can look at that as an indication as any that Canelo is physically slowing down, right? All those factors is a clear indication that the man is slowing down, okay? Now, Canelo's fans should begin bracing themselves because it could end at any time. In a sense, maybe it's already over, right? Maybe it's already over. Now, Canelo has reached a point where he has chose to coast the rest of his career, at least to the extent that a person who trades punches for a living can coast, right? Now, since losing to Dimitri Bivol in 2022, Canelo has dialed it back big time. His next fight after Bivol was a third time in the ring with 40-year-old Gennady Golovkin, which my friend Just Do called the pay-per-view spawn match. Remember that Just Do? Canelo Triple G3, the pay-per-view spawn match. And that was Canelo's next fight. That's what I mean by he dialed it back big time. And that was mostly a cash grab. And by that time, when he fought Triple G, the demand was building for him to get in there with David Benavidez, remember? He was starting to build big time then. But instead, Canelo fought John Ryder, remember? Who was way overmatched. Then after John Ryder came Jermell, straight from 154 to 168. Now, Mel was an excellent fighter, right? But he was much smaller. Although, going into that fight, Mel seemed like a potential threat coming in. But once the fight began, all that potential threat stuff went straight out the window. Mel was also way overmatched, okay? Yeah. So then by this point, after the Mel fight, by that point, the demand for Canelo versus Benavidez, it was being screamed by everybody, right? It was just about the most wanted matchup in the sport by that time. But Canelo chose Jaime Munguia. And after that, he chose Edgar Berlanga, right? And by then, Benavidez was at 175 pounds. Benavidez said, hell with it. He went up, right? Went to 175. Now, Canelo is a 4-division champion at 2 divisions, right? No, he's a 4-division champion, a 2-division lineal champion, and he's a certain first ballot Hall of Famer already. So he may be completely content with his legacy right now, you know? His moves over the last few years certainly indicate that he's content with it, you know? Certainly indicates that Canelo is content with leaving boxing just like he's sitting right now, okay? Thomas Hill says set. Yeah, I agree, T. But, if Canelo is interested in challenging himself and enhancing his legacy, there's still quite a few options out there for him. Let's talk about them. Let's talk about them options that's out there for Canelo if he's interested in enhancing his legacy some more. Because it seems like he's satisfied with it. Now, of course, let's start with the most obvious one, David Benavidez. Now, Canelo has lowered the bar of expectations that he would fight Benavidez so low that he would just simply agree to fight David Benavidez, probably score some points, some legacy points for him. Even if the fight don't happen, even if he just agreed to fight him, you know, probably would mean something. Now, Canelo's best chance at beating Benavidez, I think, was probably a few years ago, you know. Now, this fight is highly unlikely to happen. Now, if Canelo had wanted this fight with Benavidez, he would have made it by. It would have happened by now, right? It would have happened by now. And as time passes by, the advantages in this fight tilts in the favor of the younger Benavidez. You know, the more time goes by, the more it favors Benavidez. But if this matchup actually did still happen and Canelo won legitimately without any cheating by the judges on the cards, it could go down as a defining performance of his career. If he could get in there and beat Benavidez right now, yeah, that would be big for Canelo. And I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't do it. Think about it. A not so young star beating a dangerous young superstar that many thought he would never fight. And if he went there and beat him right now, that would be so much for Canelo's legacy. That would put an exclamation point on Canelo's legacy right there. Yeah, yes it would. But, and another option that for Canelo right now, if he wanted to enhance his legacy some more, would be fight the winner of Bivol. What y'all think about that? Fight the winner of Bivol. A win there might do more for his legacy than a win over Benavidez, beating one of them two. Now, if it's Bivol, that's a rematch for Canelo and a revenge situation, right? If it's Benavidez, probably be an all-out war against the man who beat Canelo, right? Now, if he took this fight and won it, either way it would be for the light heavyweight championship. And if Canelo won it, that would make him the 6th member of the 4-belt 2-division club, remember? Clarissa Shields, Bud, Katie Taylor, Monster, Usyk. Canelo would join that club, right? The 4-belt, 2-division 4-belt club, a disputed club. And then another possibility, Canelo could go even higher and face the cruiserweight champion. Go up there to cruiserweight, right? He flirted with that in 2021, remember? And when Lunga Makabu, but it didn't pan out. Now he would be going up against a higher level competition because cruiserweight right now is Abataya, Zerdo, and Norea McKelvey, and whatever his name is, Norea, Mikaeljan. Doesn't he have a belt at cruiserweight? So yeah, Canelo would be going up against much higher level competition than Makabu if he went up to cruiserweight, but that's an option for him. And with Canelo's body frame, I don't think he would have any problem making cruiserweight. I don't think Canelo would have any problem making heavyweight. He's a solid guy. He's not tall, but he's solid. You have tall, then you have big. Canelo is big. So yeah, that's the other guy at cruiserweight, right? I think it's Apataya, Zerdo, and this guy, Norea, whatever his last name is. So Canelo would have a higher level of competition than Makabu if he decided that option. But yeah, he could do that, right? Go up to cruiserweight. Or the last option I'm going to talk about is the one that's likely to happen. Talked about right now around the sport as close to being signed. Is it signed yet? Could be signed at any time, man. Yeah, Canelo and Bud. Likes are looking great, man. Y'all are some nice people, man. Guess what? I ain't even hit the like myself. Damn, guess. You begging people to hit the like and didn't even hit it yourself. Now I've hit it. Okay. Now both Canelo and Terence Crawford are reportedly finalizing a deal for a fight on Mexican Independence Day weekend at super middleweight. Now the highest class Crawford has competed in is 154, and only once in his career, right? It is often the case that when two fighters from different weight classes sign to fight each other, a rehydration clause is added to the contract to level off the playing field, right? Often the case that happens. But in this situation, now most people anticipated this would be the case for Canelo and Crawford with the size differential between them, but Crawford's team insists this will not be the case if they match up. Now, what will a win over Crawford do for Canelo's legacy? Okay. Now, maybe Canelo wouldn't get full credit in the moment and for some time after the fight, even years, right? Because Bud coming up 2 weight classes, not right away, he might not get the credit for it. But As the years continue to go by and the fight gets further and further in the rearview mirror, the past details will become fuzzy. And the number of fans and other people, like historians and commentators in the press, those people who were around when the fight occurred, start to dwindle away. Bud will cease to be the little guy that jumped up 2 weight classes. He will just become one more all-time great on Canelo's resume, right? As years go by, people will forget that. And Canelo would the longer and longer it gets away from the fight, Canelo will get more credit for it. That's the way I see that. Mm-hmm. Now, Canelo Alvarez's record isn't lacking for legacy fights. He's faced Floyd, took on Triple G 3 times. The first 2 was legacy fights. He challenged Bivol, that was jumping up a weight class there to be great. Yeah, people will remember that. He beat Miguel Cotto, Sugar Shane Mosley, Sergey Kovalev, Daniel Jacobs. He beat Erislandy Lara. Okay. He beat Austin Trout, Carlos Baldomir, Caleb Plant, Billy Joe Saunders, Callum Smith, Jermell Charlo, James Kirkland. And if Canelo still wants to try to add to his legacy, forever much longer his body lets him, those options I just showed you, the options are out there. Yeah. So to answer the question for Canelo, all 3 of them, Usyk, are their legacy set? Usyk, yes, his legacy is set. Bud Crawford, yes, legacy is set. Canelo, yes, legacy is set. But they all 3 could retire right now. They would be first ballot Hall of Famers. But there's options out there for all of them to add to their legacy also, if they wanted to. But yeah, the legacies are set, I would say, right now. Mm-hmm. I would say Usyk is set the most because what he has accomplished. But yeah, legacies are set. Okay, let's take time out for a commercial break. One more time.
Doing it again. Another meet and greet, this time in Brooklyn, New York, during the Tank Davis versus Lamont Roach fight week. Friday, February 28th from 8 p.m. until midnight. If you're planning on being in town for the fight, pull up on us at the meet and greet. Tickets can be purchased via Cash App at JBT Network 1. That's JBT Network 1. There is an early bird special for $20 from now until February the 1st. Then it's $30. That covers entry and food. There will also be a cash bar, so make sure you get your tickets early. Only a limited number of tickets will be sold, so make sure that you are in that number. Several door prizes will be given away. For more information, call 410-322-4365. That's 410-322-4365. And have a great JBT day. Brought to you by the JBT, Curtis Sewell, Treasurer.
All right, thank you, Big Dre. Salute, Bones. Yeah, they look like the Situation, Bones. It's going to be in September, and Canelo will likely fight in May. I don't know who the opponent. I haven't heard anything about an opponent yet, but he always fights on Cinco de Mayo and at Mexican Independence Day. He's been doing it for all these years. I can't see him stopping this year. So yeah, Bones, that's likely the Situation. Somebody else in May and Bud Crawford in September. Yeah. Because how many years straight have Canelo fought on Cinco de Mayo? So I can't see him stopping it this year, So yeah, to answer your question, Bones, that's the way I see it. Mm-hmm. Anybody knowing this ain't different, let us know. Let me and Bones know. But yeah, I see that happening like that. Yeah, he will fight somebody. I thought it was going to be Bud on Mexican Independence Day at first, but no. Let's look at something else here. Let's look at the most important years in boxing history. The most important years in boxing history. But this week coming up, we're at the beginning of another big week of boxing history. Tomorrow is going to be, remember Tuesday, we've been looking at all of the divisions, started at heavyweight. We are down to junior featherweight or super bantamweight, 122 tomorrow. Look at a little history of the division and look at some of the former greats. We also look at some of the people that's fighting in the division right now, talk about them a little. And then look at some great fights in the division. And some other significant events that happened. Tomorrow it's 122, super bantamweight / junior featherweight, right? Wednesday, we continue our series brought to us by Thomas Hill. We're looking at the different boxing styles. Last week was the Cuban boxing style. The views were great on that one. Appreciate you, T. Hill. I should have known a Thomas Hill show and get my most views. But the views were great, up in the hundreds. I think I'm hitting the wood like 3. That's good for me. 100 is good for me. But anyway, this week is the Mexican boxing style. That aggressive, come forward, pressurized boxing style. That's this week, the Mexican boxing style. Oh, man. I don't know. What's after? Last week was North Dakota. What's after North Dakota, y'all? That's boxing in the States. We do it, each state in the United States. A little history of that. Some significant events, some boxers from that state. I don't know what's after North Dakota, though. Let me find out right quick. And the profile this week is Primo Carnera, mafia-backed boxer. You know, Ring Magazine was awarding the Fighter of the Year. Remember, one year in the 30s, I believe, Carnera won it. They wanted to give it. He was the best fighter that year, but they didn't. Instead of giving it to him, they didn't give an award because he was mafia-backed. So they didn't give an award out that year. Yep, because of Primo's history. We're going to talk about the 10 most important years in boxing, but I'm trying to find out what comes after North Carolina. Anybody know? Help me out here. All I got to do is pull up the calendar. I mean, no, the United States in alphabetical order. Don't y'all love Google? I do this so much, I put in United and it came up. United States in alphabetical order. After North Dakota is Ohio. Ohio Thursday. Boxing in the States. Ohio. Y'all don't know nothing about that Ohio players. Okay, here we go. Ranking the 10 most important years in boxing history. Okay, appreciate everybody. 10 most important years in boxing history. Now, number 10 was 1982, which was the Duke Kook Kim tragedy. Duke Kook Kim tragedy. That's when they went from 15 to, that's when we still had 15 rounds for a few years, but that's when they made the decision to go from 15 to 12 rounds because this guy died. He didn't die in the ring, but he died as a result of punishment he received in the ring. Yep. He was up against Boom Boom Mancini. And yeah, Mancini, they were lightweights. Mancini was a pretty good lightweight boxer, former champion. He was defending his WBA belt in that fight against Duke Kook Kim, November 13th, 1982. Now, it wasn't expected to be much of a fight, right? Kim was a South Korean, and he was lightly regarded coming in. He had never fought outside South Korea at that point. This was his first time outside there in Vegas. But instead, Kim came prepared for an all-out war, right? And if not for the tragedy, that's what the fight would have been remembered for. How valiantly he fought Mancini, who was an aggressive, come-forward fighter. He was American, but he fought kind of like in that Mexican style. We're going to talk about Wednesday, yeah. And Kim was right there with him battling. But anyway, in the championship rounds, Mancini began to take control of the fight. Though Kim continued to come forward relentlessly. In round 14, Mancini finally dropped Kim for the count. Briefly, Kim made it back to his feet. Then he collapsed again. He had to be taken from the ring on a stretcher, and he never regained consciousness, dying 5 days later, right? And the tragedy of Kim's death was the catalyst for reducing championship fights from 15 to 12 rounds. One of the most significant changes in the history of the sport. Yeah, that's what did it, that fight right there. And then 1980 was a big year in boxing because Enter the Kings. That's when the Four Kings fight started, 1980. Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, the Hands of Stone, Thomas the Hitman Hearns, Marvin Hagler. Did I say The Hands of Stone, Roberto Duran. Okay, yeah. Name of the Kings, 1980, big year in boxing history. Okay. Where my chat go to? Damn. Oh, there it is. Got to be able to see that. Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was Oregon too, T Hill. I'm glad I looked it up because I would have been saying Oregon. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Most of the years. Yeah. Yeah, most of the years mentioned on this list are included due to a specific major fight. But 1980 is important for the era it established, the time of the Four Kings. Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, and Roberto Duran combined to dominate the 1980s, both in the ring and at the box office. And it came along at a perfect time because Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, they was leaving the sport then, right? And boxing needed a shot in the arm, and the Four Kings came along at the perfect time, man. And then a few years later, Iron Mike Tyson came along, so boxing was fine. Boxing was just fine at that point, okay? Now, 1980 was the year it all started. And the two major fights of that year were between Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran. The first one in the rematch. And Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran was the first fight of the Four Kings series. And Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran was also the final fight of the Four Kings series in 1989, in the last year of the decade. Yeah. Sure was. Yeah. And don't forget the raffle. And don't forget the early bird special. This is the last week for it. Because the first is, when is the first? Saturday? It goes back to $30 on Saturday. But remember, one ticket, when you purchase a ticket to the event, that enters you into the contest to win the ticket to the fight the next day. And, you know, the $20 early bird special, same thing, puts you in the raffle for the fight. So get your ticket this week. Save $10, you know? And if you say, oh, it's just $10, I ain't worrying about that. Well, save that $10 and mail it to me. I could use it. Okay? Everybody, they don't worry about the $10. Pay the $20 and then just send me the $10. Okay? Save it. Give it to me. But yeah, the raffle is February 21st is going to be joined a week before the fight. Give you time the winner to get prepared and everything to get up there. And again, if you can't make it, I'll take the ticket too. Okay? So yeah, if you can't make it, you know, I'll be the sit-in for you. And your seat will be in good hands. Let me stop. But yeah, February 21st is the actual drawing, a week before the fight. And the event is the day before the fight, February 28th. It's going to be a great time. Just make sure you get your ticket. And get it this week because, you know, save the $10 if you get it this week. Because the early bird special is over the 1st. I think it's Friday. I'm going to drop the link in. We got to chop it up for like 20 minutes. Because Just Do Boxing at 4. I'm going to get on up out of here then. Okay? Let me see. Yeah. I can't miss any of Just Do Boxing. Might miss something important. You know? That balance and bias, boxing talk. Everybody gets to Just Do Boxing. You know? Y'all don't know? Yeah. You're part of that JBT network. Yeah. Okay, here's the link. We got 20 minutes to chop it up. Okay? Or down. Either way. Yeah, February 1st, Melanie Queen got it right there. It's over. OVA. Over. OVA. So you better get your ticket before February 1st. Okay? I know how to spell over. OVER. But I said OVA. Over. Get your ticket, okay? Here you go. What's up, T Hill?
Yeah, what's going on with you?
Oh, not too much. Another day talking the boxing game.
man. I hear you on that. We got blessed with another one. Just wanted to make mention of that raffle again.
Yeah.
The $20 gets you not only an invite to a happening meet and greet with some good food and good activities that's planned for you, and some great door prizes, but it also gives you a shot at a fight ticket.
That's right.
Now, we're doing a raffle, and the raffle got a block party as well too. You get 1 for $5. You get 25. What you get? What's the deal again?
3 for 25. 1 for 10. 1 for 10. 3 for 25.
1 for 10. 3 for 25. And that gets you that golden ticket. But if you purchase the ticket for $20 right now, that gets you all of them in one fell swoop.
Yep.
And you have until the 1st of February. I would greatly suggest
that Saturday to
take it first. Yeah, that's right up this block right now. This down home stretch. So you would want to take full advantage of that, because the prizes have always been good. I think we've even upped the ante this time for prizes. I don't want to be specific because I'm not absolutely sure of what's entitled, but I think we have a very good prize, and we got some stuff that is, just modern trinkets, but we got a special prize for people as well too. You're gonna be getting prizes at the door. You're gonna have chances for stuff to win while you're there, because we're gonna have activities there as well too. We're gonna have some good food, but that golden ticket. Now, to get in that venue, it's gonna cost a whole lot of money just to get all the way up in the nosebleeds. But you, for $20, can get up in there, and that you can't beat that. So take advantage of that if for anything else, because you can literally be in the building, rubbing shoulders with the celebrities, rubbing shoulders with the musicians, and rubbing shoulders with the fighters, all wrapped in one, man. So my question is, who's gonna get that ticket?
I know.
It could be you. All you gotta do is put in $20 and you can be in the building. There's people that's putting in $25,000 to get in the building.
I heard one ticket for $6,000. One ringside for $6,000.
Well, it's as it goes up to closer to the date, it gets even more expensive. So, and this is with very limited promotions, right? They haven't really fully promoted it yet. So imagine when the promotions take off. Ooh. But we gonna see, and hopefully we see you there, because at the meet and greet, you get a chance to meet and greet with one another, man. We talk amongst each other. Why not show up and be in the house? Because that's ultimately what this is about. It's about connecting folks. You know what I'm saying? Making people have a great time in the sport they love, conversing the sport they love with people that they know.
Yeah, and then when we're on here, we talking, we can see the faces. We can be talking that like we talking now. We know what everybody look like and everything.
Exactly. So do yourselves a huge solid and take advantage of that $20 special that we got for this weekend, because that right there can get you everything in one fell swoop. And on top of that, you're gonna have fun at the get together, because it's gonna be nothing but festivities, funtivities, and all kind of good ivities. So go on and get you a ticket. I guess we're enjoying the tickivities.
We the one that bought a ticket for $10 and went into wouldn't that be something? Woo.
Yeah. I mean,
Tank Davis fight for $10, man. Wow.
Yeah, for sure. So you know, there's always that chance too, but you can get it all in one fell swoop. So do yourself a favor and go in. Now I'm gonna go back to
go ahead, Tim.
Oh, no, you definitely can't beat that. Now I'm gonna go back to what you asked. Now, as far as legacies being cemented, absolutely. I think all of them have done beyond what many people have done in the sport. So with that being said, they've attained a level of prestige that few have ever attained. So I would never question their legacy All their fights to still be available. Well, yeah. And for each and every single one of them, I'll explain.
Mm-hmm.
I came up in air when you got called out. You responded to the call.
Mm-hmm.
If any of you will have watched the series Game of Thrones, there was a scene where they were in the north up in Winterfell and they were asking people for help, and the little girl said that everybody failed to answer the call, but except her. And she was a little girl who ran her country. And she said that, in our custom, whenever somebody calls for help, especially if it's this house, we respond to the call. Well, when you coming up in the game and you've watched sports, anytime you've been challenged and verbally challenged, you have to answer the call. So for that, yeah, I believe Canelo definitely has to answer that call for Benavidez.
Yeah.
Because the man was actively calling him out and, did everything that was necessary to deserve that shot. Everything he even came out of his mouth and said, you need to do, and I can give you a shot. He did. So for that reason only, more importantly, the call out, you got to answer the bell. You're a true champion, you answer that bell. So the true champion.
You know what, real quick? Now, that's gonna be part of his legacy, whether he fights him or not. Even if he don't fight him, that's gonna be part of his legacy.
Yeah, everybody gonna talk about it in a negative light. Right. So they're gonna talk about it because they believe the young bull can beat you. Now, I don't believe that, but I could see it happening because Benavidez is a great boxer. You know what I'm saying? He's a good fighter, a very good fighter. So, he definitely would have a chance. He's younger, a lot more active, and he's looked a little bit better in his fights of late than Canelo has looked. Now, I personally believe Canelo has carried folks. I don't believe that he ain't that dude no more. I just think that, hey, he ain't got no interest in exerting himself or going beyond what he has to do to win. Because he's logging, because I believe he knows that this will be his biggest money fight as well, too. I think the people are clamoring for the fight, so therefore it will be a bigger demand for it than any other fight. Going with this theme, I'm going to stay with him before I move to the next two other fighters that you asked up.
Yeah.
I would say that he would fight Bivol. He will not fight Better Beef. I don't believe he fights Better Beef. I don't think he wants no parts of Better Beef, because Better Beef, with one punch, can knock your lights out.
And whereas everybody stay around, talk about he about 41, will Canelo fighting in it if he stays when he gets older?
No, because even with his advanced age, he has an inordinate, they said inordinate amount of testosterone in him, meaning he's still processing testosterone like he's a young buck. Okay. So he's still that much more gifted athlete because he's still harnessing more of his testosterone than most people are.
Okay, gotcha.
So I don't think the drop off will be significant or great. I think the way that he trains and the measure in which he does, the forms of training that he does, the various forms of training, keeps him alert and keeps him right, and he keeps his body in shape. So I just think that one punch possibility is too great for him to risk.
Right.
He could possibly go after Bivol. Bivol does it because Bivol has to put together punches to get you out. Right. He can take punches, but it's the one-shot punch that you don't catch, that you can't take, that will get him for a knock.
Right.
Yeah, so he would not fight him. So I believe he'd fight everybody but him. And I don't think he goes up higher than that weight class. I think that was his top off. He ain't going no higher than that. So what? You say what now?
No, 75. He said he's not going to go past.
Yeah, 75. Yeah, that's his top off. He ain't going past that.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't blame him either.
I just said that because at one time he was talking about it, but he didn't do it. Remember,
but you said exactly why. List of the names, but now those names have greatly changed, and people who are up there
more competitive,
more dangerous. More dangerous, and no matter what, you remember Canelo walks around with a necklace that has a crown with his initials in it, so he don't want to ever have that crown tarnished. So nothing's going to jeopardize that crown. His fights are calculated because he carries that crown. Now his way out, that changes everything. So now it becomes, let me grab the most money I can get. Therefore, a Benavidez fight would factor in greatly on his way out, and I still believe that they will fight.
If he ever fought Benavidez, that would definitely be his final fight.
That's how I see it. Now,
Yeah,
now
me too.
going to Crawford.
Mhm.
Crawford absolutely has nothing to prove. There is one fight that he definitely needs to take. And I'm going to preface it by saying that off one fight, they got this lore about Crawford. Now, it's clear that lore wasn't absolutely bulletproof, because in the next fight after, he looked pedestrian in the ring. He did a great job, and he won the fight. He won the fight off the last 3 rounds. The last 3 rounds gave him that fight against somebody who's not as good as everybody wants to paint him, because he made Crawford struggle. And I believe that fight, his next fight, is going to be the telltale sign of whether or not Crawford just was that superb, Crawford was just off, or it was just a little bit of a
But if it's
bad
Canelo,
night.
will that still tell that story? If it's, you mean if somebody at 154 would tell that story, right? But will Canelo answer that
Well, yeah,
question?
well, the Canelo would answer the question, but it depends on what Canelo you get. Because, you know, the Canelo that's going out there to seek and destroy, and he does well against that, then, yo, you gotta give him his that. But if not, and it's the Canelo that's coasting, and, you know,
Carrying people,
you can't really gain. Yeah, you can't really gain too much from that.
Right.
If it's the Canelo that's going in there to seek and destroy, then that's a whole different argument and confidence. And if he does well against that, then you gotta give him his that, no matter what. But that Madrimov fight to me was more the litmus test of what other fights with Crawford had looked like. Remember, he was in the ring with a Sean Porter who did not train like he was supposed to. His dad even confirmed this, and was out of the ring for a while, and he struggled. He was losing the fight. He struggled
Porter
against Mean Machine.
Confirmed that he didn't train like you're supposed to.
Porter, exactly. Porter admitted it, but at first his dad was out there saying,
put it out there.
You know, I stopped it because he didn't dedicate himself to the fight. You stopped it while he was ahead on the card too, and it was only one more round. You stopped it.
He wasn't hurt.
Porter
he wasn't hurt. Shape than that, man. He was in worse shape than that when Spence dropped him. Remember? And it continued.
You see what I'm saying? So the build-up is all the other fights. Crawford didn't look like this superstar, and one fight he did. So was it just that night he was on? Was it he was on and the other fighter was really, really off? Or was the other fighter just shouldn't have been in the ring that day? We don't know, but we got a gauge of what it is. So for me, the fight that he would really have to give us is the fight they agreed to in the first place, and that was a rematch with Spence.
Who?
A rematch with Spence.
Yeah.
Because that was the agreement. So you made that agreement and you reneged on that agreement because you know what? You saw a bigger fish to fry. And then on top of that, Spence didn't look like he was ready to get back in the ring anyway. So something was clearly going on with him. Because it's taking too long for him to get back in the ring.
That's true.
So that would be the only one fight that I would have to see for him. I think he's done everything. You don't really need to prove yourself. You've done everything that you said you set out to do. So there's no need to prove any other fight other than the one that was agreed upon, and that was the rematch. If Spence is truly okay. Yeah, if he's truly okay. I don't know if he's
fight somebody else first, or just go straight to a Crawford rematch.
I would like for him to fight somebody else. Because let's face it, Crawford's faced somebody else. He faced somebody before, and he faced somebody since. We haven't seen Spence in but that one fight. So I think the ring needs to tell whether or not he's compromised or if he's okay, he's back, and you know it's a go. But if it's a go, that would be the one fight that I would say that I think he needs to do over. And for Usyk, it's the Daniel Dubois fight.
Would you think in reality, though? Will you actually think we'll ever see Crawford and Spence again?
I don't believe so. I don't know if we'll ever see Spence in the ring again. To be honest, I really don't. I don't know. I mean, for me, it's taking too long for him to get another fight. And if he's truly okay, then why is that the case? Because it's not like you can't make money off of him. So that to me, but for me, the last one, Usyk, it would be Daniel Dubois. I think that what you saw after Dubois got off was a characterization on him checking out mentally, but also the brilliance of Usyk carrying through and taking over. But in the interview, post interview, instead of giving a better account of himself regarding that punch and saying, you know what, hey, the ref called it this way, man. You know, I took advantage of this time, and you know, once I was together, you saw what really happened. He said that he got hit in the nuts, and you know dang well he didn't get hit in the nuts. You know what I'm saying? And he claimed it as the only reason why he was hurt, that he hit me to the balls. So no, you know you didn't get hit there, and you know that wasn't true when you said it. So for that, that's the only fight I see he need to really ever run back, because he didn't answer to all challenges and all calls. So all three of them, for the most part, have answered all challenges and all calls. The only one that really has one that has not answered has been Canelo over Benavidez, and that's a fight that I definitely think he would need to carry out before it's all said and done, because he challenged him. And after that, I just leave it to the floor.
Yeah. Hey, let's get Ant in, because we got like 5 minutes. What's up, Ant?
What's going on, gents?
Oh, not too much. Another day talking this boxing.
Let me put my crispy. There we go.
You cooking?
Something
like that. Man said he up in there batching up something right now.
Yeah.
Man, as far as Spence Crawford is concerned, it's up to Errol Spence. If he want to do it, I'll watch. If Terrence Crawford wants to do it, I'll watch. If not, I'll watch whatever they do. I don't know if I would go as far as my man T. Hill did to say like Terrence Crawford, like that was the night he was on, because I watched several of his fights recently, and I was like, man, like for example that Posto fight, he got busy in that fight. Jeff Horn fight, Julius Ndongo, what's my man's name? The Olympic gold medalist, the Puerto Rican cat, Felix Diaz.
Oh yeah, Diaz.
John Molina, Hank Lundy fight, and we talking about damn near 10 years ago. Hank Lundy was a formidable guy. He wasn't no scrub. Diery Jean, the dude from Canada, that dude was like 29-1 at the time. Bud knocked him out. We talking about Thomas Delorme 10 years ago, when Thomas Delorme was, you know, still pretty damn good, 22-1 himself.
Didn't he take the title from Horn, right? Jeff Horn.
Yeah, and he was, and not he didn't just take it; he muscled it from him.
Yeah, that's who he beat, right? Horn.
Yep.
Jeff Horn. Yeah.
Muscled him, you know what I mean? Pushed him around, and it hits a crazy thing. Like even with Gamboa, right? Like the Gamboa fight. Yeah, Gamboa was dealing with some promotional issues. He was my favorite fighter at the time. He was dealing with some promotional issues, torn between 50 Cent and Mayweather. 50 Cent had that SMS promotion things going on, but he was still 23-0 at the time. Yeah, and we like to bring that up. Oh yeah, well he got rocked by Gamboa, but the other part was that he dropped Gamboa 3 times in that fight and stopped him.
Sure did.
So he was excited.
Oh, you cut up.
And then 47, the work he did at 47 too. Remember?
As I'm saying, so that wasn't the only fight where he looked.
No, I didn't say that was the only fight. I'm saying that's the only fight where it looked like somebody didn't belong in the ring with him. Spence looked like he didn't belong in the ring with him. Other fighters were competitive. Fighters of lesser ilk too. They were far more competitive than Spence. So I'm saying, was it just that night he was tremendously on Matrix style, or was it the combination of him being on Spence not being at his best, or was it just Spence not being at his best and he just took advantage? We don't know. We do know that there was a rematch negotiated in the fight and we never got it. So that would be the only one fight that I'd say he would have to give somebody in order to fully have things cleared. But I mean, he totally cleared him in the ring, so he can stand on that. But nah, Crawford ain't no joke. I ain't never said he was.
I think the difference is this. He was just fully prepared for him. Like, he knew exactly what he was going to do. He was going to work behind the jab, and it was just a fantastic game plan. I feel like Errol Spence got a little bit overzealous early on, pressed the issue a little too soon, and he walked himself into some things. The same things he was doing in the previous fights. It's just those guys, they just they didn't have the requisite. What was that?
They couldn't take advantage of it.
Yeah,
but
they just couldn't take advantage of it.
Yeah,
not just the tools, but also the temperament. You know, like that's another thing that's extremely important. Like you got to be willing to stand in there. Like I heard Bud talking about that counter that he put on Errol Spence in the 7th round on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he said he knew that there was a good chance he was going to get hit, but he was going to stand in there and allow him to throw that left hand so he could land his uppercut.
Right.
Most guys are not willing to stand in there
and do that. And I see what you're saying.
Exchange like that.
Yeah.
That was the difference between him and Errol Spence that night. That was the difference. It was just he was prepared for it. You look at a lot of those engagements, Errol Spence shooting his jab, he's catching it, firing his own jab at the same time. And we got to remember that the man is naturally right-handed, so his jab when he's southpaw is like a straight right hand. So essentially, Errol Spence was trading a jab for a power punch.
Yeah, Bud is right-handed.
Errol Spence wasn't compromised. Yeah, Bud is naturally right-handed. Yeah. He learned how to box southpaw because he broke his right hand as a kid, and then he didn't want to leave the gym. So he learned how to fight southpaw, so he wouldn't have to stay out the gym. And he just worked on throwing his left hand from that stance.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it pains me as an Errol Spence fan, as a Yuriokis Gamble fan. Like the man is just that damn good. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell that this one guy just magically stays in his prime as the older man, and all of these other guys just magically aren't in there. Like just time just doesn't work that way. And I feel the same thing was applied to Floyd Mayweather. It's like, oh well, he aged this guy out, or he had an advantage there, or he had an advantage there. Whose fault is that? The man was just getting busy. It just is what it is. And then once again, you go back and watch the Danny Garcia fight. Errol Spence was having trouble with his balance in that fight. Danny Garcia just didn't take advantage of it to the extent that Terence Crawford did. Neither did Ugas. Remember, Ugas, it looked like Errol Spence damn near got knocked out in the 6th round or whatever round that was. He was looking for his mouthpiece. But then he commenced to, step into Ugas and taking advantage of him. So the same things were there. It's just those guys couldn't take advantage of it. And then also, we don't know what nicks and whatever things that Terence Crawford is going in there with. None of these guys are going into the ring 100%, regardless of how good their camps are, because boxing is a physical thing. You're getting punched on, you're getting hit. There's wear and tear from running, wear and tear from this, that, third. You know what I mean? You still got to factor in recovery and all those other things. I think the man is just exceptional. Errol Spence is tremendous too. The guy won what? Three world titles, was a belt away from being undisputed. This guy just had a little bit more versatility. He was just a little bit more equipped to deal with him than the other way around. That's just what it comes down to.
You think if all Canelo, Usyk, Bud retired now, they all legacy set, they all first battle Hall of Famers right now?
Absolutely. I mean, with all of these guys, we can go through all of their resumes with a fine-tooth comb, because we say, Usyk is 2-time undisputed at, he's undisputed at cruiserweight, but how many people can name the guys he fought at cruiserweight? We just know he was 2-time undisputed. Now, I'm pretty sure there are some people who are watching, people who are in the chat with it, extremely knowledgeable, and they can give you the whole rundown of who he fought en route to becoming undisputed at cruiserweight. I'm not one of those people. I know he's fought some good guys like Maris Breedis and whomever else he fought there, and then at heavyweight, we know who he fought at heavyweight. But it's like if you want to go through people's resume with a fine-tooth comb, because Canelo was the same thing. You look at Canelo's resume, just the names alone. It's like, man, this guy fought Kovalev. But if you want to diminish it, then you can say, well, he fought Kovalev after he had been knocked out by stopped by Andre Ward, knocked out by Alida Alvarez. The man was dealing with alcoholism. He was having legal troubles, yada, 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 so on and so forth. Then you can look at
The Lara fight, did he really win that fight?
Right.
Who did Billy Joe Saunders beat besides what's my man's name? Lemieux. So it's like it gets very tricky and it's a very slippery slope when we start going through people's resumes and we want to audit things. I just say just leave it be. You fought this anybody. You can do it with everybody. So it's like you fought this guy, you did what you did, you became accomplished. It is what it is. Who am I to say that this guy isn't this, that, and the third? But if I'm looking at the Boxing Hall of Fame, right? If I'm looking at the Boxing Hall of Fame and I'm looking at what these guys accomplished, those three guys' names that you just mentioned, if they were to retire today, it doesn't even matter. Them guys are going in there, regardless of whether I like them or not.
Yeah,
I could be mad at Terrence Crawford all day for July 29th and for what he did to my man Yuriorkis Gamboa, but that man is a bona fide Hall of Famer.
Yep.
Just on the basis that, like, how few fighters have become two-time undisputed. And then also it's the Boxing Hall of Fame, not just the professional boxing Hall of Fame. So you also got to factor in with Usyk. Usyk was also Olympic gold medalist. So this guy's a gold medal. He's just a winner every step of the way. He's an Olympic gold medalist, highly decorated amateur, undisputed at cruiserweight, undisputed at heavyweight, and he rematched the guy that he beat en route to undisputed and beat him more decisively the second time around. It's like, what more do you want? And he fought the guy, Anthony Joshua, 2 times. Anthony Joshua was a former unified champion. Usyk beat him 2 times. Then he also just beat the guy that beat Anthony Joshua in Dubois. So it's like, what more do we want?
Yeah, and gave Fury up his career,
And with Canelo, I think the thing with him that we oftentimes forget, because he's much maligned for where he is currently, right? He's the cash cow, face of boxing. He's this, he's that, undisputed. He needs to be fighting this guy and that guy and this guy, which I'm not opposed to. But the other side of it is we're talking about a guy that started his career at 147 and went as high as 175. And there were rumblers of him fighting at cruiserweight. Once upon a time, he was supposed to fight the dude. He lost his belt too. What's that?
Was it Makabu?
Yes.
Yeah.
Makabu up there for the
Makabu,
WBC.
yeah.
He was supposed to fight him for the WBC. But just think about that. There's a guy that started at 147. How many guys do we see scale that many weight classes? We talking about starting at 147 to cruiserweight. That's over the span of 30 some odd pounds.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Last time we seen a guy do that was who? Like Manny Pacquiao, who started at 108, and then before him, it would have been
Hearns went from 147 to light
Thomas
heavy.
Hearns. Yeah, Thomas Hearns went to light heavy, but we got what's my man Roberto Duran started at 135, went all the way up to light heavyweight. So that's no small feat. Now, regardless of who you fight up there, that's a remarkable thing to be that small of a guy. We forget Canelo Alvarez is like 5'7".
I know. Yeah.
But because he's strong, we just and because of where he is now, face of boxing, this, that, and the third, we kind of disregard the fact that what he's doing, regardless of who he's doing it against. When you just think about physics, when you factor that in, physics, and it's an amazing feat, man, to go from 147 all the way up to 175. That's amazing in itself.
Yes, it is.
The average welterweight, regardless of where Sergey Kovalev was at that juncture of his career, send a guy like Amir Khan up there to 175. How do you think he fares against? How do you think he fares against a faded Kovalev?
Yeah, wouldn't end well.
He wouldn't end well. You know what I'm saying? But Canelo, he found a way.
Yeah.
Most guys can't go from 147 and end a fight with a dude like Bivol on their feet. It's not happening. So it's pretty remarkable when you really, really look at Canelo's career within the full scope.
And still going on too.
And it's still going on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still going on. But I also understand people's frustrations. It's like, yeah, David Benavidez is around. He's calling you out. You should give the young man an opportunity. So I understand that. I totally get it. But by the same token, it's like if I'm looking at it big picture,
yeah,
impressive.
Yes, it is.
It's
You got to give
impressive.
him his props. Yeah, you have to give him his props. You still here, Thomas Hill?
Oh yeah, yeah.
All
We're gonna
three
get ready
Hall
to
of
get out.
Famers. Book them. Book them,
Yeah,
Cass. Book
we're
'em.
gonna get rid of. Yeah, I did. I agree. Yeah, they all legacies are set. I mean, they could, like T Hill was said, they could add to it, but they don't have to. They could retire right now. They set. You know. Yeah.
Nah, absolutely set.
Yeah. Okay. What y'all got something in closing? We're gonna get ready to get out. Call it a day.
Oh, my closing argument is this. My man T Hill, I always appreciate you. That is my Mickey Fricky guy right there. Always keeping me sharp and keeping me on my toes. Cass, appreciate you for opening up the platform for us to have this conversation. And your the topics that you cover, man, it truly is needed out here in these YouTube streets, man. Like we need that full course meal, like when it comes to boxing. Like it's always fun to talk about what's going on and who's ducking who and the politics and everything like that. But just for the purity of the sport and the service that you provide in that regard, you know what I'm saying, it's well needed out here. I just wanted to say that.
I appreciate it. Man.
See y'all over at Just Do.
Okay. Take us out, T Hill.
Hey, it's kind of hard to follow. I'm getting somebody calling me while I'm trying to talk, but it's kind of hard to follow those words, but to echo it, man. Thank you for the platform. Thank you for the content in which you provide. Thank you for the aspect in which you cover it, one that's without bias or slight. And shout out to boxing. We got a great one coming up this week, and it's going to kick off what I hope to be a great year of boxing. And as the esteemed colleague, the great Ant McQueen, the values just said, follow us over to Just Do Boxing, where he always gives boxing its just due. Shout out to Cass Sports. Shout out to Mrs. Cass. And shout out to you who are joining us. And don't forget, $20 before the 1st of February gets you the whole shebang bang and a ticket to get inside the hottest ticket in town come March 3rd. Was it March the 1st? March 3rd. Well, March the 1st. So.
28th. Yeah.
Yeah, the 28th is when it's going, but the 1st is when the event is going to take place up in the fight, right? So yeah, you get a ticket to get in that event. So take advantage, man. Take advantage. And on that note, I'm out.
And with that, we are out. Ant McQueen, Thomas Hill. This is Cass Sports. I will see y'all tomorrow. Everybody have a good day.